Welcome, Comic Corner, agents of Fandom podcast here on YouTube, Twitch, and the Bad Place, and the Agents of Fandom Network. My name is David. I'm your host. What we do is comic book news, reviews, interviews, all that good stuff. I'm joined today with my good buddy TJ. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody out there. Hope everybody is having a beautiful and fantastic day and are ready to talk some comics. Kind of a light week this week, but still some heavy hitters going.
A bit of a light week, but also some, like you said, some heavy hitters. It's like we have DCKO, the penultimate issue of that. We have Absolute Wonder Woman, the annual, and we say goodbye to Ultimate X-Men and continuing our goodbyes to the Ultimate Universe.
Wait, was this? I don't want to cut off because we're going to talk about it, but this was the last issue? Oh my god, that completely changes what I was about to say about this. All right, let's get to it though.
All right, let's get to it. But first, before we get to any of that, I want to rant. Because yesterday I went to my comic shop, as all of us tend to do here on Wednesdays, and I happened to see, oh man, I wish I pulled this up real quick, but I happened to see this little compact version, 6x9 comic collection of 8 issues each. There's like 3 of them of Charles Soule's and Ron Garney's Daredevil run, right? And we're so used to now having these compact versions with Marvel and DC and them being very cheap, at least on the Marvel side. Or sorry, at least on the DC side. They're $9.99 on the DC side, no matter how thick a collection is or how thin a collection is. Some of them hilariously thin and still being the $10 makes me laugh. But TJ, have you ever read the Charles Soule's Daredevil run? What'd you think of it? Like, it's a good run.
Yeah, fantastic, dude. Muse, one of the most interesting villains added to Daredevil's lineage, I think, in years. So yeah, banger, man.
So I'm just trying to get the price exact right now, just because I should have had this up and I didn't. And I just happened to look at the price of this thing. And this is supposed to be a collection, like the Marvel version of a compact, right? And like I already mentioned, they are, oh my goodness, League's website is killing me right now. And they are already, here we are. I just try to get down to the price of this. This thing is nuts to me. Do they not have the price listed?
We need to get
there we go. Okay. Yes, they do.
Music or something.
All right. We have the price listed. Like I said, this is essentially the Marvel $10 version of their collections. TJ, how much do you think this is?
Well, I know because we're talking about it, it's going to be a ridiculous amount that I will absolutely hate. But I would say, so how many issues does it collect?
8.
8 issues? I no more than $10 is what I would say if I was a fucking idiot.
Well, the original compact or whatever they've been going with these things, they've been $15. I just picked this up yesterday. I don't have it. $24.99. That's more than a trade.
Jesus Christ. What have they done to us, man? What are they doing?
$24.99. Like, you're not even like getting a deal on this anymore.
You literally could go. This run has been out for a long time. I guarantee you could go to like 4 different comic shops and find majority of these in some short boxes and walk away like $5. Or Marvel Unlimited, which I know is like a monthly kind of thing, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you could probably get a month for $24. And you can read a shit ton more than just Daredevil.
It just blows me. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 18 issues.
18 issues? Okay, that makes it a little better, but I mean, still, same concept applies. Like you said, you could get a trade for that. I'm curious right now. I don't want to take up time, so you can start bullshitting if you want about this, but I want to see how much a trade of this is.
Oh, it's like $17.
Then what are we doing? What is,
I'm starting to come back on this now. I didn't realize it was 18 issues. I did some terrible math yesterday. I thought it was 8 issues. But even so,
I would say I'm sticking to my original outright.
Yeah, because even so, I'm sticking to this. DC's compacts, which I have behind me right now, they're all $9.99, which is a fantastic way to get into a singular story. It's essentially the trade version of those that would be $17, and now they are $9.99. Marvel's digest version of that is we're going to put more story into a smaller book and have it cost more than twice as much as our competitors.
Stupid.
It's crazy, man.
Stupid.
Crazy, man.
Stupid.
Crazy, man. So I do apologize. I thought it was 8 issues. It's clearly 18 issues. Yeah. But still.
I still maintain my outrage. I mean, it's I don't know the exact time frame, but this is not a new book.
Does you have $25 in his bank account?
Yeah, literally, though. It's like, this is not a new book. This is, there are trades of this already available. Like we said, kind of either comparable or cheaper than what this is. You're getting it in a smaller format. Like, I love the idea of these little books, for people, like you said, to get into these stories, easy to carry around, whatnot. But I mean, you can't just be gouging us for the damn price, man.
These are also not that much smaller than a trade. They are bigger than the compact versions, for better or worse. Because sometimes, like, what I will complain about with the compact versions is they are very small. So when you have like some amazing art, or when you're trying to read Watchmen in that thing with 3x3 panels, sometimes you're like,
But see, to me, that kind of also makes it even worse, because like you said, it's not even small like the DC things, which is like kind of like the shtick of it, right? They're closer to size to a trade. So again, why? So they're just like, okay, let's just make this new bullshit so we can charge people more, and then like not buy the trade. Like, I don't know, it all
they're in between
like
a trade size and a compact size. They're like
so
in between. And Marvel,
so
Marvel's done those before.
So what's the point of it then? What is the point of it other than over a trade? Do better. Do better, Marvel.
Let's get into a book that came out this week. That was a little bit of a mess. I do apologize. Let's get into a book that came out this week. That was, I don't want to call it a mess. It was fine.
Hey, that's what we do here, baby. We're flying by the seat of our pants here.
That's what happens when I add a segment literally last minute. DCKO number 4. This is the penultimate issue of DCKO. We are into the final 4, and we kind of, TJ, and spoilers for everyone, sort of have a winner here. Sort of have a winner. But with everything in DCKO, there's always one little plot twist going on at the very end. What I will say, I'm not going to get into too many spoilers. There are some surprise return or two in this issue. But the big thing that they set up in the last issue is you get to see the absolute versions of these characters face off against the Earth Zero, our mainline, our usual versions of these heroes. And it's pretty fun. And yes, it is like a corrupted Omega Darkseid version of those absolute heroes. They're clearly under some sort of Darkseid control. But I will put a spoiler warning in, because I can't talk about this without getting into the big spoiler at the end, which is, who, TJ, do you remember most of us saying will win DCKO?
Mary Jane Venom. No, I honestly don't know. I honestly can't remember. Superman, I mean.
A lot of people guessed Superman. My guess was Lex Luthor. And it came down to, essentially in the end, Superman versus Lex Luthor. And Superman looked at Lex and he's like, all right, Lex, you ready? Darkseid's right there. Let's go take him down. But guess what, TJ? Lex understands the competition's not over yet. TJ says DCK reminds of a lot of the movie Never Back Down. It's got a little bit of Fortnite to it.
That's a little inside joke between me and TJ, and I love that he keeps it going. It's my favorite.
But Lex pulls the trigger at the very end when Superman has his back turned, and Lex wins the tournament with a big asterisk because there's one more boss fight he has to take on, and that's Darkseid himself. So next issue, Lex versus Darkseid. I have a feeling I know where that's going to go.
Crazy.
The feeling I know where that's going to go. But I am now more curious since Superman was taken out and seemingly has not won this competition. What that means for the Superman book, because we know Superman, Cal, will not be in the Superman book. It's going to be Superboy Prime. So there was a part of me wondering after all those solicits, I was like, oh, does that mean Superman wins and he's just gone missing? We don't know what we're going to do. But I thought this issue was pretty good. There's a lot of really neat back and forths between the absolute versions and the mainline versions. A lot of really meta and funny indirect quotes between the two that go off of when we first saw Absolute Batman, and we were all like, that has got to be the ugliest bat symbol we've ever seen. Yes, that line is in the book. So pretty good stuff with that. I really enjoyed it. I gave it like a 4 out of 5. I think this event has been pretty good. Pretty good. I don't love how it has put a huge stop on all the other mainline books, essentially. I never liked that about events. Some of the other mainline books, like Nightwing, thank God, is still just doing its own thing. Unlike Titans, or some other books. But I digress. We move on. And only like another month or so with this. And then what I do like also, TJ, is Scott Snyder has said that they're not planning any big events coming up in the near future. And they'll only approve an event if it's really good.
Thank God.
Unlike Marvel. Ryan, thank you for joining the chat. He says it'll be interesting to see how the tie-ins will tie in post going back to Crisis, for example, how that will affect the Luthor versus Darkseid battle. Yeah. No, obviously there are some other tie-ins that have tied in. The night fight, for example, has tied into this issue. How it will tie into the very end, I think that's interesting, especially with how this issue laid off, where we see a time trapper Doomsday kind of being like the only thing at the end of the tunnel that can really save the day of Darkseid. And where Impulse falls in with that, where the Superman tie-ins fall into that, I don't know. I think it's that's kind of one of my biggest problems, and I think TJ will agree with me about events, is a lot of the times the tie-ins never seem to tie in. They don't seem important. Maybe on a small scale, it's fine. And I think a good example of a mini event, at least that Marvel has done, was like the death of Doctor Strange, where everything that needed to happen happened in the mainline story. And then the tie-ins weren't really tie-ins. They were more spin-offs on how does the death of the Sorcerer Supreme affect these mystical characters in the Marvel comics. I think that was a good way of Marvel doing it. I think DC had done a lot of tie-ins here. We had one like Titans, like you said. We had one with Impulse. There's a lot of tie-ins. I'm curious to see how they do that, especially in the mainline. And if they do tie in, we're saying tie in a lot. If they do tie in, how will that work for people who haven't been reading them? I think that's another problem that a lot of big events have. But yeah, DCKO, I give it like a 4 out of 5. I think it's fine. I think some issues are better than others. I think this one was neat, had some fun moments, and I am happy that I guessed the final. I'm happy that I guessed who was going to win. Yay.
Claps for Damon. Claps for Damon.
TJ, I have not had the opportunity to read this one yet, but this is the final issue of Ultimate X-Men.
Devastating.
Written and painted beautifully by Peach Momoko with letters from Travis Lanham. Now that you know this is the final issue, you said that your opinions on this have changed.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Very much so. So everyone out there knows if you've watched this show, but if it's your first time, maybe you don't know. I love Ultimate X-Men. Me and Damon both love Ultimate X-Men, and we've been loving Ultimate X-Men. And I went into this issue having no idea that it was the last issue. And I gotta say, nothing really happens. I mean, to be fair, we've kind of gotten to the I guess, peak of what our previous arc was with Hisako and Kageyama. But we were also left with a lot of questions and a lot of like, oh, mate, like Hisako, for example, a little bit of spoiler alert, but it's very much implied that Hisako is not dead. Like she is somewhere out, and basically the last couple issues we've been following May and the others basically trying to find her. Like what, after the big fight with Kageyama, what happened to her? And here we just end. We see May is still looking for Hisako. They introduce this, which I'm assuming is going to play a role in the end game thing, but they introduce this whole new thing about this little mutant, basically a mutant suicide pill that all the mutants are carrying around that they can just boom at any second, and like it's like a whole like new drug kind of thing. And then we just end with May Storm, like she looks at her phone and it's like a, oh my, like a shock, whatever, we don't see what she saw, and then it ends. And to me, I liked it at first because we've been reading this and we know like some issues are a little bit of a slow burn, but it's like, building on the story. So that's how I took it on my initial read. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I can't wait to find out what text Maystorm got. I guess I'm not gonna. So that's very disappointing. But I think this comes back to our criticisms we've talked about with the Endgame event in general. And it seems like whether it was Peach's decision or not, some of the ending things for Ultimate X-Men are going to be in Ultimate Endgame, which makes me afraid because, I mean, we're juggling like a billion different pieces. So I don't really see how the Ultimate X-Men, who have not been involved with anything else that has been going on, are going to get all this tied up. So yeah, I gotta be honest, that was a little disappointing for me because this is a book I love. But on top of all that, our main point of all these books that we've been talking about, Peach Momoko. I mean, her art is just so good. I still enjoy the issue, even though now I kind of look at it differently. It's still just awesome to flip through as always. And I do love at the very end, which kind of should have let me into this fact. I guess I just wasn't thinking in that lane at all. But we do get a really nice last page of all our Ultimate X-Men, the whole group, like waving goodbye and like saying like, thanks for reading or whatever. And I was just like, and like I said, now that I know it's the last issue, it like I'm like feeling this in real time now. I'm like, God damn, man. So yeah, like I said, very mixed feelings.
And we'll never know the text that Maystorm got. However, we do know that the Ultimate Universe isn't officially ending yet. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Because
dude, I
so
swear.
do you think that text message that she got has something to do with those weird boxes that Miles brought back to the 616, and now she's going to be one of the 4 potential candidates to come on over?
Yes. But dude, if they tie up the Ultimate X-Men stuff in that bullshit Ultimate Reborn, I am going to have an aneurysm. Like that would make me so mad. And I know that's what they're going to do because they shoved Maystorm in that Miles book, and that's why they did it, so they could fucking do this, man. I'm upset. And I love Miles. I don't want it to sound like we've talked. That was my favorite thing about this whole thing was Miles, and they dropped the ball on it. So now now it feels like they're dropping the ball on 2 of my favorite things. So I'm not happy out there, people. Not if you can't tell.
Give me a number. Now that
I give it a 4 because I love the
Okay.
series so much. And
Okay.
again, I want to go back knowing what I know now and see if it hits me different.
All right. Absolute Wonder Woman, the annual. This is written by Kelly Thompson, art from Mattia De Luis, letterer Becca Carey, editors Ash Padilla and Chris Conroy. It is no secret. I love this book so much. I think this is my favorite Absolute book. It still is. Every single issue that comes out, I'm like, yep, that ripped. And what I've been loving about these annuals is Kelly brings on a artist who she's been doing ton of amazing work with throughout her entire career. You're bringing Mattia, who does these incredible, very realistic paintings. The colors here are a little bit more flat than what Mattia usually does, and I think that's just because of the turnaround on maybe getting this annual together. But I think the art is still impeccable, and this has to do with the fallout from the first arc. When you had that giant monster, TJ, if you remember, a giant monster coming into the city, and the only way for Wonder Woman to deal with it is that she has her lasso that she's able to transform herself into anything, and she transformed herself into Medusa, which turned the monster into stone, and that was the only way for her to deal with that situation. From the fallout of it, she realized when she was Medusa the terrible prison of being Medusa is. And she thinks that the punishment that Athena gave Medusa to become this monster is too cruel, which is a very Wonder Woman thing to do and a very Wonder Woman thing to think about. So she goes to Athena and is like, hey, I have a proposition. I want to see if I can help her because I think that punishment's too cruel. And Athena's like, hey, man, you do whatever you want. I'm not helping you. They do a little trade for powers. And Wonder Woman then goes to try to talk to Medusa. And of course, everything is has to be on top of some terrible mountain you have to climb. And she's given away all her powers. So she literally just has to climb a mountain into a sea, into a cave. And she's like, oh, great. So she gets there and has to deal with her sisters, deals with her sisters fairly easily, and then comes face to face with Medusa. And like I mentioned, Wonder Woman has traded her powers to Athena in return that she can look Medusa directly in the eyes, which is something Medusa has never been able to do since she became this monster. And they're able to have a good connection and a good moment. And Wonder Woman gives her an opportunity, says, look, from here on out, this is your decision. If you screw up from here, this is on you. But I'm giving you the opportunity to no longer be this monster because I became you. Even for 2 minutes, I knew how terrible this was and how evil this is. And so she uses that same lasso to turn Medusa into her original form. And then her and her sisters are able to bond once again. Beautiful story. Beautiful story. Incredibly well painted. And once again, it goes back to such a simple change that Kelly Thompson did for this Absolute Wonder Woman. And you're just able to just go from there, and all these stories from here on out, just putting her in hell. You're able to go with all these amazing hell gods and goddesses and have her just interact with them throughout her entire life. Beautifully done. Just so good.
100% agree. I love Absolute Wonder Woman the entire in its entirety, but we've talked about before. My favorites are always when we kind of take these little Greek side missions and like are doing like some Greek mythology stuff. And I mean, this fits the bill in spades. I mean, fighting Medusa, we get in, like you said, the kind of compassion, which I'm sure if anyone out there watches Percy Jackson. I mean, what's Greek mythology is having like a renaissance right now. So a lot of people I feel like know the story of Medusa, kind of tragic. I love the way that Kelly dealt with that and put Wonder Woman in that situation to see how she handles it. And yeah, I love it. Like I said, I love these little Greek mythology side adventures. They're one of my favorite aspects of this book. And I thought it was perfect to use as an annual. We talk about sometimes annuals kind of fall short, just kind of feel like, yeah, whatever. But this just was like a great ass adventure, you know, and it didn't need to tie into the major story for me, but it still did. And yeah, I 4.5 out of 5, almost a 5 out of 5. It was just awesome.
This was a 5 for me. I thought it was that good, especially there's a double page spread that Mattia did of Athena the first time you see her. And it's like
Huge.
I literally I had it in front of me. I looked at my fiance. I was like, someone someone did this. In the detail and the feathers and in the claws that are on the feet. I was like, and the helmet. So good. So good. I love this book so much. It is no secret we have Kelly on at least once a year to talk about her work. And I think Absolute Wonder Woman has been one of the absolute books that knew not just found itself, it knew what it was since issue 1, and it's just been going on from there and being incredible. Whether like Absolute Batman for both of us, I think it took about like the first arc to really kind of find itself, and then for
Speak for
Absolute
yourself,
Super
man.
for me, and then for Absolute Superman, it took literally like 12 issues for Superman to finally be there, right?
Superman, I agree with, but man, that first issue of Batman when he slices that dude's hand off, I
Oh,
was like,
yes.
"Oh, we're here, man. I'm in."
Yeah. Cobra Commander will return Avengers Doomsday. But I love this book, TJ. I thought it was great. 5 out of 5 for me. And you know, don't give those out too often. But this one, absolutely, all pun intended, deserves it. You know what time it is, TJ. This is David Papos, Jonathan Lau, our weekly dose of Papos. It's Space Ghost.
Dude, yo, spitting bars over here, my dude. Yes, Space Ghost, number 8, one of my favorite books, and it just continues to be awesome. This issue is more of a kind of emotional adventure, as you will. Again, I've talked about this at length, but the way that Propose is able to kind of balance different themes throughout all of these issues, like you got action, you got adventure, you got heart, you got, you know, family kind of dynamics in some issues. So it's, again, I can't praise the series enough. In this issue, we get another new bad guy, antimatter man. Sounds pretty much what you think he is, and it's. I'm trying to find getting my thoughts together, but it's like I said, exciting adventure, but one of my favorite parts, and I talked about this last issue because it kind of ties in with this as well, but the emphasis on Jan and Jace, Space Ghost sidekicks. Again, they are not just there. Like, they are very integral to the mission, what Space Ghost is doing. And here I kind of came to the realization that, like, we're kind of seeing their hero origin story, like, along with Space Ghost in a way. So I don't want to spoil too much, but something very tragic happens to Jan and Jace in this issue. Again, I don't want to spoil it.
I swear to God, if you say
it's not Blip.
Happens,
no, I will spoil that. Blip is okay. Blip is okay. Don't worry. Blip is okay. But yes, no, something else very tragic happens. And like, it kind of made me realize for the first time since following all of this that, like, oh, this is their Uncle Ben moment, right? Like, this is like, they've been kind of, oh yeah, we're superheroes now, like we're with Space Ghost, everything's cool, like we're fighting monsters. But now it's like, oh, shit is real. Like, shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, people can get really hurt, which they've seen before, but now that it's like close and personal to them, I just found that really interesting and kind of, I don't know, kind of gutsy in a way, in a book that is supposed to be very much, you know, superheroes, punchy fighty. You have your monkey sidekick, and to add that kind of really deep emotional weight to them, I thought was a really interesting move, and it makes me very interested to see where we're going to go with them moving forward. Because again, it's real now. It's no longer just, you know, playing around with our little sidekick monkey. Like, they will and can get very hurt. And so, awesome issue, fun and exciting, but also really kind of gives you a little gut punch, and it's like, okay, where are we going to go with this from here?
Yeah, no, I do like the sound of that, where there's actual risks at stake in this.
Yeah.
Like, you always have been saying ever since the kind of the first run of this first volume of this book, where it's very like Saturday morning cartoon. And usually in a Saturday
Mhm.
morning cartoon, everyone's fine at the end of the day. You have your big monster, you beat your big monster, and you move on to the next big monster or the villain or whatever the week after that. But you need some stakes,
Yeah.
even in the world of Space Ghost. So give me a rating.
Ooh, I'm gonna go 5, man. I
Ooh, okay.
again, I love the series for the fun aspects of it, but this just balanced everything perfectly. And I think that's the testament to why this book is good. I think Propose is very tuned in at balancing that campy, like I said, Saturday morning cartoon that you would expect from Space Ghost, but he's also treating it like like, I don't want to say not a real book because fun campy books are as well, but a more serious toned book with that's like talking about serious things. You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure. Last book of the week.
I'm
This
excited for
is
this.
so this is DC Vertigo. This is Bleeding Hearts, written by Dennis Camp, penciler Stefan Miranda, colorist Matt Hollingsworth, letter Hassan Osmani Elau, and editors Matthew Levine and Chris Conroy. I'm I'm not much of a zombie fan, and that's essentially kind of a lot of what this book is. It's a big zombie book, and it tells a story of Poke, who is a zombie, but all of a sudden his heart is starting to beat a little bit. Starting to beat a little bit in a world where the zombies have officially pretty much TJ taken over. And I thought this was okay. I read the little preview for this when I got it from my comic shop when we got all these DC Vertigos previews. And I remember reading this one. I was like, I really like Dennis Camp. We talk about so many of Dennis's books and how much we love them, but I'm just not much of a zombie fan. I will say, Stepan's art in here is disgusting. Like, it's the type of art where they're zombies and they're eating fingers and toes and stuff, and you can just like taste and feel the crunch of that, right? Like, Stepan did the job. The big twist here is he's starting to get a little bit of a beating heart. He's starting to care and maybe like feel for the humans. And that's where we kind of leave off on the first issue. I think this book is good if you really like zombies. I think this is a neat little twist on the zombie idea, but I'm not much of a zombie fan. And I don't know if I'll pick up the next one, but I will fully say it is gruesome. This is a 17 plus Vertigo book. It doesn't have much of a bad language or some bad language, but like the visuals, TJ, like I said, you feel the crunches and like when the zombie's like eating someone's face, and I'm like, I like horror. I do not mind gore, but the art style for this is perfect for just like a
I love it. Personally, I'm super excited for this because have you ever had something that like just like the universe puts together and it feels like it's specifically for you? So just I like the past month I've been working on the original Dawn of the Dead trilogy, the George Romero stuff. So I have just been engrossed in nothing but zombies
mm,
for like months now. And then my favorite person, president of the Denise fan club, Denise Camp comes out with a zombie book. It's like, what is the universe working on for me right now? So yeah, I'm super excited about this, and I don't really know. I know what you've just told me about it, but I will say, from doing all this Dawn of the Dead and all that stuff, which kind of is where zombies, as we know them, came from. And I mean, those movies and like just the concept of a zombie itself is so like deeply layered and themed. Like they're basically the whole idea is zombies are us. Like we are the zombies. And I'll
mhm.
spare everyone all the allegories to society and all that, but like that's really what all those movies are based on. And knowing how Denise handles social topics and is not afraid to put his stance on what he believes in, seeing him do a zombie book with all of that on top of it, I think he is going to introduce some really crazy things. And I think it's going to be, similar to the Ultimates. It's going to take everyone by surprise. So, again, I have not read it yet, but all the writing on the wall seems like it's going to be fantastic.
That's what I'm hoping for with this book. I fully agree with you on that and every single point that you made. That was one of the reasons I picked up this book. I was like, oh, Dennis kept doing a zombie book. I think we all know the direction this is going to be going. We
Yeah.
haven't fully, it's issue 1. It didn't go there yet. It is more just setting up our two brethren, our two zombie brethren here. So I think this book is pretty decently started. I am so sorry, Jan. You did miss the DC talk and our DCKO discussion. This is our last book of the morning. There is a nice little moment where there's Mush and there's Poke. And Mush is just like a zombie who's like, I'm just happy to be a zombie, man, whatever. But the two shared a moment where they saved each other. And in zombie culture, TJ, when you kind of become like BFFs in a way, you give your arm to the other and you exchange arms, which is why Poke's arm on his right hand side is a giant muscly man arm. And Mush's arm, if you can see in the bottom right hand corner, his right arm is a little skinny arm because they literally exchanged right hands because they are each other's right hand man. And I'm very fascinated to see these two eventually butt heads. If I continue to pick this up, this may be one that I read in trade, just because the first issue didn't fully grip me, but I do totally agree that this is a direction that I think Dennis is going to completely kill when we get there.
Yeah, cannot be more excited.
All right. Well, that's it for our polls for this week. Sorry, Jam, you just missed out. We have 5 books
DCKO
next
was
week.
great. Damon loved
DCKO
it
was
a
pretty
lot.
good. I really did enjoy it, and I am very happy that I guessed correctly the quote-unquote winner of the tournament. Where it goes from there, I don't know, because we still have one more issue, and I'm curious to see how that individual handles Darkseid. A very, very big evil Darkseid. All right, 5 books next week for me. I have Absolute Batman number 17, Shock to No One. I have It's Jeff Meets Daredevil. What a concept that is. From Kelly Thompson, Guri Hero. Gonna be amazing. Minor Arcana number 14, Nightwing 135, and speaking of our goodbyes to the Ultimate Universe, our goodbye to Ultimate Spider-Man. Hopefully it doesn't leave us out on a cliffhanger like it Ultimate X-Men did.
I'll say, is it bad that I'm like kind of, I don't want to say not excited, but I'm kind of scared?
So that's actually been one of my things with the Ultimate book. So I haven't had the opportunity to read Ultimate X-Men yet, just because there's a part of me that I'm like, I just don't like how this is ending. And
Yeah.
Jam, you dropped Nightwing. I think this Nightwing run was fantastic.
Ooh.
So good. And we have an incredible story to come up after this with this run. But yeah, I think all 5 of these in their own special little way, TJ, are going to be great books.
That was sweet.
How
man.
would I
That
give you both my right hands when you're
That's sweet. You're my right hand too, Jam.
TJ, what you got?
Literally exact same thing. From what I can't remember honestly what I've redone my polls recently, so I feel like this isn't completely accurate. But I know for a fact Absolute Batman, Ultimate Spider-Man, and then I may also have an Uncanny X-Men, but I can't. I'm sorry, Gail. It's not because I don't like it. It's just there's so much money, but I can't remember if I dropped that yet or not. So maybe Uncanny X-Men, which I still have been really excited to catch up on. Again, I'm sorry, Gail. It's not because I don't like the book. I love it. But that's it. Easy, clean week. Unless there's something else that I'm missing, because I am terrible at updating the League of Comics crap. So Yeah. Whenever that's coming out next. I don't know if I'm picking that up though. Y'all know that.
Sure. Yeah, I looked up the books next week. Nothing amazing, but that's fine just because we do have the dropped all main continuity books. Wow.
Damn. Jam is
Wow.
going
Making a statement.
hard. I respect it.
Making a statement. I think DC's main continuity has been pretty good. Marvel's, on the other hand, it's just very pick your poison on what's good and what isn't. But TJ, thank you so much for spending your morning with me. Thank you, everyone in
Always.
chat, for spending your morning with us. Expenditure, Jam, TJ. Thank you so, so much. And great question earlier from Ryan with all the tie-ins for the DCKO stuff and how that will play out into the future. As always, make sure you go support your local comic shop. Go to comicshoplocator.com to find the nearest comic shop near you. Don't forget to talk about the trailer show tomorrow. Yes, we do have a trailer show tomorrow where we will be talking about all the exciting trailers that came out during the Super Bowl. Whether you liked them or not, we will talk about it. I will probably go off on some people who really don't like the Mandalorian Grogu trailer because it wasn't really a trailer, folks. It was a teaser, and it was fun, and it was silly, and it's exactly what a Super Bowl trailer needed to be.
Hate it.
It was a rip on the Budweiser Clydesdales.
I just wanted to give you shit. I just wanted to end this off.
Well, that's a little teaser for tomorrow, then. Tune in tomorrow, noon Eastern, and we'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Be safe. We will see you next time. It is 2026, everyone. Ignore the outro.